So taking yourself back to, thank you, the first time you moved into the secondary school, and talk to us about how you found that place to be a welcoming place, if you did. How are you made to feel comfortable to be there and ask questions? So Tracy, we might ask you to be the brave one and start off. Thank you.
I don't really recall ever being welcome through the school. The first point of call is always the office, and the transition with my daughter was pretty much an information pack. There was no information from the principal at all in regards to how they will benefit their transition, and that was pretty much it, just an information pack that was brought home that had to be done in primary school with a passport. They had to fill in their information, what their goals were, what their expectations were, and take it back for their orientation day. And that's all the information I received in regards to her transition.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My transition is a bit hard for me and for my child when we went to high school, because he done all his primary schooling overseas, and for being a mother and my first time as well to put him in high school, I've got no idea how the system and how everything works at the school. When I went to enroll him for year 7, I asked first the school if they had English classes, because I know he might have problem when it comes to communicate with other children and things like that. So I asked them if they got English classes, and they did. They put my son for 3 months, actually. I haven't got any orientation at all about the school, what they are going to do and what other classes are or things like that. I got no idea at all. No one told me, no one explained to me, and no one ever tell me where to go and who to talk to at that time. And even going to the English building, I have to go through, I have to do it and find it on my way, I went to the office, to the reception, and said, you want to enroll your son to English classes, just go to the next building. Okay, where's the next building? You'll find it. Just, when you go outside, just next to this building anyway. Okay, just walk around and, there's another child that's the only one I spoke to, and said, you want to go for the English classes? Okay, I have to go first to the canteen, to the library, before I end up to the English building. That is my transitioning. Thank you.
So I think Remy and Tracy have started us on thinking about this. So in terms of taking the conversation to the next step, Tracy, Remy, what would have helped? What were you hoping for? What would have been some of the little things that the schools could have done? Because I'm sure they were intending to make you feel welcome. What were some of the things they could have done that would have helped in that transition phase? Can you talk to us about that? What were some of your expectations, some of your hopes?
I would have hoped that the teachers and the principal actually involved the parents within that transition, as they do within the primary school. There is no difference other than it's a bigger school with a lot more students. Get the parents in there and get them understanding what the courses are going to be, what their subjects are, what is expected of the student, and then the parent will have that understanding and can take that home, rather than having to make a phone call to the school or ask the child, what subjects have you got, when the parent should actually know the subjects and just take it from there. If it can be done in a primary school, then it can be done in secondary. There is no difference other than a bigger school with a lot more students. But to get the parent involved, it has to start with the school, and the school needs to involve each parent, and then we'll have an understanding. Okay.
Yeah. My expectation at that moment, actually, when I asked the receptionist, she could have taken me to the English building, actually, and just show me around the area, give me a tour, at least. Just show me around and just introduce me to some of the teachers at least, But it didn't happen at that time. But look, there's few other agency or organization was in that school after a little while that I met, which really helps a lot. And I would say the Smith family helps me very good deal when I had Michael over there, actually.
Tracy or Remy, before we move on to our next session, is there anything else that's in your mind that you'd like to share with the audience around your experience before we move on?
Okay, we are going to talk about my experience after that little huddle on the very first few months when I went to that high school. When my son moved into the mainstream, I kind of cope up as well as my son, because of the parents group that Smith family has developed for the parents to talk to the teachers and the principals regarding issues of their children as well. So at that time, that's the time, on that first meeting, we met the principal. That's the first time I seen him, actually. And the teachers, yeah. And we are able to speak to him what are the issues. Oh, he listens anyway, right? And we open up, there's few issues that we have covered, like the traffics, that's going on in the area, the car park, which it's getting too much for parents when they're picking up and dropping off their children because they don't know where to park. That's the biggest problem over there. Bus stops, it's few issues that came up, which is they don't know anything about it until we start talking. So parents group was the best thing that they have done, but I'm not sure if they're still doing it over there. Yeah, they stopped, sorry.
I think when we hear from Tracy and Remy and we look at the evidence around building the relationships is the first step, and how we do that. Because like all of us, wherever we go to for work, it becomes like home to us and becomes so familiar. So it's being able to stand back and say, what's it like for someone who's coming to our space, their space now for the first time? And as these wonderful parents said so clearly, they need that to be school-led. And I think often the very first space where we can do fantastic PL work with well-meaning people are the office staff. Because I know, like you, when I phone schools sometimes, that first voice, or when I walk into a school, that first sense really gives me a feeling about a place. Can I ask you to join with me in thanking, I think, two really brave parents today, Tracy and Remy.